Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. A little bit of breaking news here. We talked about it a little bit earlier this morning as Elgton Jenkins seems to be on the chopping block. No surprise. We've all kind of dove into it this offseason. However, the rumors are really starting to heat up. We're going to hit on a couple of those sources, I guess you could say, or folks that are reporting on Elgton Jenkins and the Green Bay Packers seem to be parting ways, is what the tea leaves are saying. We're going to talk about what his cap hit would have been, how much money we're going to save, how he actually performed last year, and is there a chance he comes back after he tests the market? Highly doubt it. We'll talk about all that and more on this quick little kind of breaking news segment, if you will. So before we get into everything, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. This is just a little breaking news segment where we bring you some of the details as stuff happens in real time. So if you're looking for that type of content, be up to the minute on everything Packers news, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss these live streams here in the future. So let's just dive into it, guys. We started to hit on it earlier on the morning show. I decided to hold off because I wanted to wait and see if more steam picked up, and it seems like it has. There's multiple people now that feel comfortable tweeting out what Bill Huber originally reported, and obviously that's the Packers are expected to release Elgton Jenkins. So Easton Butler actually tweeted it out earlier today. So the Packers are expected to release offensive lineman Elgton Jenkins by the beginning of the new league year per Bill Huber. Now, we kind of talked about this, right? That if a restructure didn't take place between the 15th and the 20th, somewhere around that range, probably not going to get a restructure done, which tells me Elgton probably doesn't want a restructure, right? It's either, hey, pay me all the money I'm due this coming season, or just cut me loose. It seems like the Packers are most likely leaning in the latter there. Now, also the image that was attached here from Easton Butler, I think this actually came from Bill Huber's article. So everybody do me a big favor. Go find any of Bill Huber's work. Go give him a retweet. Go give him a follow, all that good stuff. He does excellent work for the Packers. Obviously been doing it way longer than I've even been a Packer fan. So does a phenomenal job over there. Here's what it said on the screen grab that Easton Butler tweeted out. At age 30, coming off season-ending injury and failing to get anywhere close to all-pro expectations, Jenkins is widely expected to be released before the start of the league year. Jenkins' cap hit for 2026 is about $24.33 million between his $18.5 million base salary, $1 million in per game roster bonuses, and a $500,000 roster bonus. He is owed $20 million in cash. Those are by far the highest figures amongst all centers. We talked about this when they gave him the contract extension, right, years ago. It's like, okay, he's played guard, but that's kind of a little bit more expensive than a guard contract. And it made me think, is he like the future left tackle? I think they tried him there for a little bit of time after Bach went down. It didn't work out. They moved him back to left guard. Then they tried to move him to center. And it seems like ever since 2021, his play has been on the decline here. Now, when you look at the structure of the contract, it's really, really simple, guys. It's the last year of the deal. We kind of talked about some of the details. $18.5 million base salary. Obviously, the signing bonus proration already accounted for at $4.8 million against the cap this year. No roster bonus here, according to Spot Track. Active/GM roster bonus, however, $529,000, which was mentioned by Bill Huber as well. Workout bonus of $500,000. That's that offseason workout to keep players in Green Bay and engaged with the team, as opposed to going to warmer climate, just getting away from the facility. They want to give extra incentive to have those players stay in-house for most of that offseason work. And you've got to reach a certain amount of practices, a certain amount of workouts, I guess you could say, in order to qualify for the entirety of that bonus. I think Elgton might have forfeited a little bit of that last year. I know there was a couple players that's done that in the past. I think Jair Alexander was one. So you're starting to see a trend. The players that do that, usually the next year or the year after, they're gone, right? It's kind of the writings on the wall, if you will, that they're kind of checked out and ready to move on. The cap hit itself was $24.3 million. These are the important numbers. The dead cap attached is $4.8 million. So essentially what you're looking at freeing up here is like $19.5 million if you just cut him outright. Now, listen, that's 8% of the cap, according to, I guess that's across the league there, in terms of like, okay, how much of the cap for the Packers is he eating up? 8% of the cap. That's just way too much for a guy who underperformed at center, and he's 30 years old. and he's coming off another big injury. It just the writing's kind of been on the wall. We've been hesitating to report that he's gone. It looks like people are getting way more comfortable with that now that restructure period is starting to simmer down across the league. Moving on to how he performed here. And to me, this is very, very, very important. Okay. When you look at how he's performed throughout his career in 2019, we always say that when you draft a player their rookie year, if they grade out in the 60s, according to PFF, it's a really good indicator they're going to be a good football player. Doesn't mean it always happens, but anyone who's under 60, it's like, uphill battle. It's rare that somebody comes out and plays at a 50 level or below, and they end up going on to be a great player. They may be above average eventually, right? But typically, that's kind of the starting point for me, at least, in the limited amount of time that I've studied PFF while they've been obviously involved with the NFL. So if you grade out 60 or higher, pretty good indicator you're going to be a good football player. That's why I'm so down on one of the reasons I'm so down on Anthony Belton last year. Like, he graded out in the 40s. When was the last time we seen a player that was drafted by the Packers grade out in the 40s and they went on to be a great football player for the Packers? I don't know the answer, but I imagine there are few and far between, right? So he started out a 69.1, he being Elgton Jenkins. Solid start. This dude's going to be a stud. Year 2, sophomore slump, slight step back, still a 66.9. Then bang, 2021, 82.1. I think that's the year they made All-Pro, I believe, if I remember correctly. I know he was definitely a Pro Bowl guard, if my memory serves me correctly. I think that's right. And then in 2022, he drops back down to a 72.3. So you're looking at probably a floor of a 66 PFF grade and a ceiling of 82, which, hey, he's only been in the league for 4 years at this point. He's probably going to get better, right? Well, then in 2023, he takes a step back to a 64.5. He rebounds to a 65.7. And then last year as a center, 62.0. Now, if you're wondering how that kind of matches up across the league, he was the 22nd highest graded center in all of football. Now, he's got the highest cap hit this year of any center in the league, to the best of my knowledge, at that 24.8, I think is the number. So when you look at how much cap is allocated towards Elgton Jenkins, and you look at how he's performed, and then you peel a layer back even deeper and go, wow, he has declined. He's essentially been declining since 2021. We're going into 2026. That is 5 years. Let's call it 4. Let's be conservative. 4 years of a player getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Also, ACL last year, another horrible injury. What do? It looks like Elgton Jenkins' best football is behind him. He is now 30 years old. We know how Goody feels about 30-year-olds. Now, listen, I've been very vocal saying I want a more veteran roster. I'm tired of having the youngest roster in the league. I'm tired of having that as an excuse that the Packers get bounced out of the playoffs in round 1. But this is one of those scenarios where this makes sense. What doesn't make sense is to cut Elgton Jenkins and replace him with a rookie, and now you got younger on the offensive line and expect things to magically get better. I don't think that will happen. So again, center may be the answer, or a rookie center may be the answer in terms of replacing Elgton Jenkins if you decide not to go get Tyler Linderbaum, right? However, you better get another veteran on that offensive line to play alongside him. Whether it's somebody to plug in at right guard, because we're not completely sold on Anthony Belton yet. Maybe he's going to be a slow developer. That could be the case as well. Whether you decide to move on from Aaron Banks and free up $4 million this year, or go post June 1 and free up $18 to $19 million in cap space. You still got to carry that cap hit. It is what it is, but you've got to do something to improve this offensive line pretty substantially. And to me, I think the answer is cut Elgton Jenkins, get Tyler Linderbaum if at all possible. If not, if you can get Connor McGovern at the right price, I'm okay with him being a starting center. If you can't land either of those guys, then shift your focus to guard and try to go grab a couple of guards. Maybe you can shore up both guard spots, move on from Aaron Banks, and now you have to draft a rookie center. You feel a lot better about a rookie center starting alongside 2 veteran guards if you go out and get them in free agency, right? You're good at Zach Tom. I have a lot of confidence in Jordan Morgan at left tackle based off what we've seen. 4-game saturation of him playing tackle last year, and in the preseason he played left tackle and he looked really good. Granted, it's preseason. I feel that's not to say Jordan Morgan is a slam dunk going to be a great football player at left tackle. It's not to say he's going to be good, but it tells you the situation we have at hand with center and guard that I feel better about Jordan Morgan than I do even Elgton Jenkins returning at center. I would feel more confident that Jordan Morgan will play good left tackle as opposed to Elgton Jenkins magically rebounding and getting back up to that 70 or 80 form that we've seen in the past. Now, listen, PFF grades aren't everything. Let's go to their efficiency rating. When it comes to efficiency rating, okay, and they weight in really, really heavy sacks allowed here. and he ranked 34th in the league. 34th ranked center at 98.0 efficiency rating. So again, that doesn't check out well for Elgton Jenkins. So I just think his best football is behind him. You thank him for his service. You tell him, hey, we're going to cut you loose. Go get your money, big dog, if you think you can get more money than what we may be willing to offer you. Here's the other thing. I'm okay with bringing Elgton Jenkins back at the right price. If he goes and tests the market and the market isn't there and we can get him back at $5 million, hell yeah. Bring him back like that. Plug him in at left guard, have him compete for starting center. At that price, he's more than worth that. You get somebody who's going to grade out in the low to upper 60s at $5 million or less per year. Sounds great. It's funny, as we get closer to the offseason, I see some of these other free agent possibilities and draft possibilities. That number used to be at about $10 million for me for Elgton. Now I'm down to like 5 to 8, right? So you really start to see how this offensive line could improve if you just end up replacing him. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. My guess is they will cut him loose. I know Wendell Ferreira wrote a piece here earlier today as well, and he sent it out over on Twitter. You guys make sure you go give that a like, a follow, all that good stuff. He said the writing is on the wall for Elgton Jenkins. The center's salary jumped from $12.5 million to $20 million in 2026, and that's higher than the average of every player at his position in the NFL, and his recent play doesn't justify the investment. Over the weekend, Sports Illustrated's Bill Huber reported that Jenkins, in fact, expected to be released before the new league year in March. Quote, at age 30, coming off a season-ending injury. Sorry, we got to add there. A season-ending injury and failing to get anywhere close to all-pro expectations, Huber wrote, Jenkins is widely expected to be released before the start of the league year. Now, again, he didn't cite a source. So if you're one of those people going, hey, Clayton, this isn't done, there's no source there saying he's not going to be back. I can respect that opinion too. But when you get multiple people firing this stuff out, different angles, Bill Huber, I promise you, has a reason to believe more likely than not Elgton Jenkins is not returning. So did that come from Elgton Jenkins's camp? Did that come from the Packers camp? I guarantee you it came from somebody. And again, he did not cite a source, but it sounds like there's a lot of smoke to this fire. He goes on to say, Wendell Ferreira goes on to say, the discussion to cut Elgton Jenkins is undoubtedly financially driven. If he's released, the Packers would save $4.8 million in dead money, or would have $4.8 million in dead money, but not $19.529 million in cap savings in 2026. His $24.3 million cap hit is unrealistic based on how he played over the past 2 years, but particularly last year after moving to center. So he goes on to talk about roster repercussions. You guys check out the article. Wendell Ferreira does a phenomenal job. If you're not following him on Twitter, make sure you check him out over there as well. But I'm curious to know what you guys think in the comments. If you're watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. Let's take the conversation down there. How do you feel about Elgton Jenkins? Do you just want to move on? Do you think they should hold on to him? What price tag would you put on him? I think we would all agree, wouldn't mind having him back at the right price. The question is, what is that price? I'm curious to know what you guys think that price is. So also do us a big favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future live streams as well as breaking news segments like this one right here. We will keep our finger on the pulse with Elgton Jenkins and every other roster move that may or may not happen before free agency opens. We got the Combine coming up next week. Really excited about diving into the Combine coverage. That'll actually probably start as early as tomorrow or Tuesday. You're going to see a lot of Combine information come out from us here at PTA. So do us a favor, give us that sub, hit that like, hit that bell icon. My name is Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack Go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.